Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the SFC interviews. This is Mike Heineman here with Jude Stirling. So, how are you doing, Jude? Hopefully, everything's all right where you are, mate.
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just I'm coaching at the minute.
Yeah.
After football now, I've turned my hand to coaching. So obviously the COVID hasn't helped, but yeah, we're easing back in.
That's good. It's a nice evening, a nice day for it as well to be out there doing that today. It's a little bit too hot actually to probably be running around and coaching and all of that. But it was obviously quite nice weather out as well.
Yeah, well, the young footballers they play in any weather. They've got the energy to play in any weather, any terrain. Doesn't really matter. They love their football, and this is a massive reason why I like working with them because, as you can imagine, I've played at most, up until League One.
Yeah.
And the main thing I played football was for enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
It was for enjoyment. So what you find as you go in through the leagues is that football's a simple game made complicated by coaches and players, and young footballers now, they're a lot more informed than we were when we were younger, and coaches are a lot more informed now. It's very much old school. So in terms of weather, we take all these things into consideration.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day when we played, it was seen as almost weak. If it was too hot, it was seen as weak if you complained about the weather. So, all of it's geared up for English football to be better. My ambition as a coach, as a footballer, it was to play in the World Cup for England.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a coach, is to try and help England win the World Cup by coaching players,
the younger generation.
Them,
yeah. That's good then. And then we'll get into it really. So, what was your reasons behind why you joined up with Stevenage? Initially, it was on the loan from Luton, and then it was made permanent after a couple of months. Was it about 3 or 4 months in the end? Yeah,
I was at Luton obviously, and I'd just been selected in the under-18 England squad.
Yeah.
So I thought, Joe Kinnear was the manager.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought I deserved a chance to play in the team. I was in and around the squad, but I wanted to be playing. I had a taste of it, and it was something that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as a young footballer, you've got friends that are playing football as well, and various players at different clubs. You had people like Joby McAnuff and Lionel Morgan, and those people that we all grew up in the same football team.
Okay.
Sunday team. So my dad was the manager of it. So once you got to sort of 18, it was almost a race to see who could play the first team game.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wanted to be that first person. So it was a little bit of that really. It was quite immature, but Stevenage, being the team close to Luton, I had worked with Wayne Turner previously, and he gave me an opportunity to come across. I knew Wayne as somebody that was going to try to improve my general game understanding and my technical ability. And I thought working with somebody like that in a first team environment, with that added little bit of pressure of having to perform week in, week out, may have helped me in my career. It was just one of those really.
No, I was just going to say that obviously it was only Luton that was where you were playing, so it was only a local journey for you. I suppose you didn't really have to move or anything like that as well. You could kind of just travel in every day.
Well, I live in North London, so
okay.
I was staying at Luton, but then obviously when my loan was up and my contract ended at Luton, I was commuting from London
into
to train, and I used to pick up DJ Campbell.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else used to jump in, but I had DJ Campbell in my car, so it was, and DJ was somebody that I used to play with at London when we played for London and Middlesex together. So yeah, but no, it just came about. You know, I wanted some first team football, and Stevenage were a club that I knew about, obviously through people like Grazioli and things like that. Because obviously with the cup run is a club that, you know, in terms of the romance of football, Stevenage was a club that I'd heard of, and I jumped at the chance, really.
And then we've got one here from Ray as well in the chat. Which team do you actually support? Who's your team that you follow?
Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah, same as me.
Arsenal fan. First football memory, Michael Thomas going around the keeper, well, chipping the keeper to win the league 2-0 at Anfield. Great day. And
then obviously the FA Cup as well the other week was quite a nice way to, you know, get something from the season, wasn't it, as well?
Surprising. I was very surprised. I think Lampard has been excellent since he's gone to Chelsea. Likewise, Arteta.
Yeah.
And what I do like is the uncomplicated way in which Arsenal are playing now. Before it was all step overs and 1-2s, and which is, you know, part of football. If that's what you need to do to get in, then fine. But I watched, I looked at the stats, the Arsenal Chelsea game, and I think Arsenal by the 60th minute, Arsenal had put 14 crosses into the box. Now I don't care what team you are, if balls are coming into the box, you know, at some point you're gonna, you know, something's gonna happen. So, you know, I'm happy with Arsenal's progress at the moment. Long may it continue.
Yeah, and then we've got a question here going back to Stevenage again now. Who was your best friend at Stevenage? And a second part of that was, on away days, who did you room with as well?
I roomed with John Hampshire. He was my roommate. But best friend, I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one. I'm one of those players that tries to get on with everybody. Yeah. I was fond of Jean-Michel Seguier.
Yes,
he was a nice guy, gentleman.
Yeah, and he done, you know, obviously settling in as well, coming over from France to get into that side as well. He was a good striker as well.
You've gone a bit quiet. I don't know what's happened there.
That's all right. Can you hear me right now? Is that any better? Is that better? Can you hear me there?
Hold on.
Okay. All right. We'll get him back in a minute. He's just going to refresh his page there because he was coaching a minute ago as well, which is why we were just waiting for him to hopefully get back on shortly. So I was just saying about Jean-Michel Seguier there, the French striker who was at the club. Is that better? You got me there now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we were just saying about Jean-Michel Seguier, weren't we? Obviously coming over from France as well.
Yeah, he was top man. He was one of those older players that he had the ability to, as a young player coming into a football club, you look to players to try and help and guide you and give you advice, and he was one of those people. He was a gentleman, real nice man.
And in that squad there was quite a few talented guys as well. Obviously Jean-Michel was in there, DJ was in there, Kirk Jackson was in there, Jace was in there. Sodge. Jace was in there, Robin Trott was in there, Clarkey.
Trotty.
Sam McMahon. Yeah.
What a gentleman. And Clarkey. What great people.
And then obviously now, you know, being an Arsenal fan, you probably see quite a lot of Clarkey as well in terms of the Arsenal commentaries and stuff that he does.
Yeah. I see him now and again, and real gentleman. Simon Wormel, gentleman as well.
Yeah. And then we've got Paul Armstrong as well. Paul's in.
Okay.
Yes, Jude, his favourite saying was Ledge. Paul was obviously one of the
He remembers. He remembers.
He was one of the guys in your squad as well, was Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, bullet, top man.
Mm-hmm. So you made your debut in one of the games against
Forest Green.
Forest Green, yeah, and it was 4-1. And on that game, I don't know if it was direct from one of your throw-ins or where we scored. But, was that something that was always a part of your game, the long throws?
Yeah, it was. I used to play as a striker as a kid.
Yeah.
And, I never really utilized it because obviously it's like when Drogba used to take corners. I don't see the point of that. You're the best header of the ball. Why would you be taking corners? But then when I got into the England squad at under 18s, I was moved into defence.
Yeah.
And that's when I started properly. I always had a long throw, but I've started to work on it as it's a weapon. It proved to be a weapon throughout my career. Some important games where it was needed.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where people tend to look at your long throw and think you can't play football.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think any player that's ever trained with me has seen my ability, and that's I wouldn't say more important, but it's important to be respected by your peers as well for your footballing talents, I think.
Definitely.
As a footballer, if you got to have a bit of pride, and if you can't, and if you don't want to impress your teammates as well as the fans, then I don't think you deserve to put on a football shirt.
And do you remember much about that game? It was the 4-1 victory over Forest Green there. Do you remember much about the actual game itself?
No, I remember, as they say, it's a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to impress. I so wanted to impress that certain parts of the game, it didn't really matter to me. I wasn't really bothered about little parts of the game. I was coming to Stevenage. In my head, I was coming to Stevenage to work really hard on my game, and then move on. And move on. That was that, or move forward with Stevenage. Whatever way it was, I just wanted to be. I wanted to play at the top level badly.
And you spoke about Wayne Turner there as well. You said you played under him previously before playing under him again at Stevenage. So, what are your experiences of playing under him like?
Yeah, Wayne. Like I said, he was a gentleman. I'd known him as more of a technical director. He used to come in and find out your progress, find out how you was progressing, and if you needed any extra training or whatever or whatnot.
Yeah.
So he used to identify your weaknesses and try and work on those things, and he always had time for you. He really cared about your mental well-being and your physical well-being, and the four corners of football, just like the psychological side of the game. He wanted to work on all of that. He was a coach. He was a really good coach, and it was just when I had an opportunity to work with him on a day-to-day basis, I was I jumped at the chance. The players that he's coached, your Gary Doherty's, Emerson Boyce, Matthew Taylor. Matt Spring.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? He's coached us all. We all came through at Luton, and he's had a hand in that. So, I thought it was just an easy decision for me to come across.
And then Paul's put a message there saying a great defender too, and he also put another one there saying he loved playing alongside you. Yeah,
100%. Paul, listen, the thing with Bullet was that he put his effort in. He put the effort in. He wasn't somebody that was going to shirk responsibility either. If he ever done something wrong, he'd put his hands up, and that was a sign of a good team, I think, where you got a group of men, young footballers, coming in for one cause, which was to improve and move on. He was, I loved playing with him. He'd make a run. If I didn't pass the ball, he would say to me, Jude, he would pull me to one side and say, Jude, I like making this run. Make sure you play the ball. And that's all football's about, just communicating and trying to win a game. Trying to win a game is quite simple.
And then what are your experiences of some of the derby games, the likes of Woking and Barnet and Kettering, for example?
I don't think I played in many. I'm trying to think. I think our biggest game at the time, not biggest game, but a couple of teams that we had some battles with was Dagenham.
Yeah, Dagenham and Redbridge, yeah.
We had some battles against them and Farnborough.
Yeah.
I remember when they they had, I think it was Holloway and people like that, Watson.
So basically just before Wesley came and brought all of the guys with him.
Yeah, just before. So
yeah.
So I don't think we had any grudge matches as such. But I thought player for player, I thought we were, in terms of talent, I didn't think there was anyone that could touch us. You had Willow as well. You had loads of players that were quality players. I thought Jason, centre half, good lift.
Yeah.
Travis came in. I thought that was a great squad, and if they stayed together, as you could see from people like DJ and even myself moving on and going to Milton Keynes and so on, if we could have kept that squad together, and forgot about So I think at times there was a few big characters there, and I think ego got in the way sometimes of certain players progressing. And I would say Paul Armstrong was one of those people that I thought, in terms of a career, he should have definitely played higher. But I think at times, because Stevenage was a big club at that level, or is a big club.
Yeah.
At the time, it was a big club at that level, and I think you had some players that were coming to the end of their career, that was still, they've maybe had a good career and played in the Premier League or whatever you, and they came down. And sometimes it suffocated the young players. It stopped them from progressing. I mean, one of the players that I had a very, very close relationship with was George Boyd, and I remember his first training session. He was 15, I think he was 15 or 16. Wayne brought him in, and he's run with the ball, giving it away. But I was looking at this guy, and I whispered to someone. I said, he plays like Chris Waddle. I said, I said, I pulled him to one side, and I said, Boydie, listen. I used to call him Bart for some reason. I thought he looked like Bart Simpson. But I said, Bart, listen, come here. And I says to him, I don't care what anyone wants to say, any of these older pros, work on your skills. If you lose the ball 1,000 times, I'm not bothered, because I'm a defender and I'm here to win the ball back. Do you get what I'm saying? So just go and make something happen. And if you ever saw the joy in his face when I told him that, I said, I'll back you. I'll fight your corner. Just go and develop your skills. And to be honest, I'm not saying it was because of me, but
I helped him along the way.
100%. It gave him that. It gave him that the impetus to now go on and do his skill, and not have in the back of his head that he was going to get shouted at by an older pro.
Yeah.
Because I think at that time as well, non-league football was very much head it, kick it.
It was, yes. Yeah.
It was very much head it, kick it, and it took for. I think that's why DJ struggled a little bit, and Paul Armstrong. I wouldn't say struggled, but managers wanted a big brute of a striker, instead of
they're sort of smaller. Yeah.
And
smaller, maybe a bit quicker, and that type of thing.
Do you get what I'm saying? And I can't remember what game it was. We played a game. It might have been Boston or something.
Yeah.
Where it was myself, Bullet. And I think it was DJ, and it was more the reserve. Jamie Campbell, Louis Riddle, Louis Riddle, people like that. It was more of like a second string team as such. I think that's what it wasn't like Kirk Jackson and all those. It was the ones that are on the bench and coming back from injury. And I think it was Boston or someone we played against, and we absolutely battered them football wise. Absolutely battered them football wise. And I think that made it a little bit more difficult for the manager. So then the manager had to try, and when you had people like DJ and that thinking they should play, the manager now had to what's the word I'm looking for?
I get what you're saying. Kind of he kind of had to rethink and rejig things a bit.
He did, but he had the pressure from the older players. So as a manager, you want to keep your job, don't you? So sometimes that can stifle the talent that's coming through, And I think Stevenage back then, if they would have just stuck with the younger players, and had one or two older heads, stuck with the younger players, I think they would have been. I think we'd have got a couple of promotions, to be honest, once we got used to the league and the understanding of it. Because when I first came to Stevenage, I didn't find it that difficult. I didn't find the games hard.
No,
Do you know what I'm saying? So us as young players, we were full of confidence, and we thought we could take on the world. We was fearless.
Yeah.
You know, so I think as a football club, if you harness that and mix it and blend it with some older players, I think Stevenage we would have got a couple of promotions. That's just me anyway. You know,
and that's what Stevenage are doing now. Obviously, it's been confirmed today that the club are now going to be playing League Two football next season, and it looks like that's what they're doing at the moment as well with the young coach Alex Ravel and Lenny Lawrence to help him out. They've gone in, they've got 5 or 6 from non-league, and they've added 3 or 4 experienced pros in there as well.
Lenny Lawrence is an absolute genius. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's like I said, he was my first manager at Luton, and he goes about his work. He's quite methodical. He's quiet, and he will say 1 or 2 things to you as a young footballer just to get you to understand life as well as football. And I think he's perfect for someone like Alex to have beside him. He will absolutely teach him the ropes. Perfect partnership.
And then we've got a comment here from Richard. I think he's kind of changing the Beatles song "Hey Jude" in terms of your throw-ins. And he's put "Hey Jude, you took throw-ins and made them longer."
Well, like I said, when I remember when I first came to Stevenage, everybody was speaking about my throw-in.
Yeah.
But we had a training session and I played centre midfield in training, and they started to call me Vieira. And then I played centre midfield. I played centre midfield for Stevenage a couple of times. So, yes, the long throw is definitely a weapon, and it's something that I'm glad that that was part of my armoury in my career. But I also want to be remembered for being a decent footballer that could play with both feet.
Oh, absolutely. I remember, you could do a job in midfield and at the back as well. You did, centre mid, centre back, right back. You played in, 3 or 4 different positions in your time.
Yeah. And like I said, for every, I've played under some managers. I've played under Di Matteo, Paul Ince, Martin Allen, and each one of those managers all gave me a new contract. None of them ever released me. I always moved on. When I was at Lincoln, the manager left Lincoln and went Peterborough and brought me with him straight away.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there must be something that I'm doing. I like to think I'll put in maximum effort. I like to think that I'm a person that wants to please the fans as well. So if the fans want us to run harder, I'll put my effort in. I'll work as hard as I can for the team. I'd like to think that I got into football for the right reasons. For enjoyment and to have a career in something. Where I come from in Tottenham, North London, not a lot of people get out of the area and get an opportunity like I did, and I wanted to make sure I could come back to the place I call home and have people proud of what I've done and have myself proud of what I've achieved. I may not have played in the Premier League. Well, I didn't play in the Premier League, but I played football at a certain level, which, as a young footballer, it was a dream. It was a dream come true.
And, you went into League One. You've established yourself in League One. Played for a couple of teams in League One there. So, it's not Premier League, but it's, some of the teams in League One have had history of playing in the Premier League, for example. So you're still competing against some big sides.
Yeah, and it was strange, every time I got on a coach and pulled up at a ground, it was that the butterflies in your stomach and you're excited, week in, week out. And when Southampton and Leicester and Leeds were in League One and played up at Ellen Road and went down to Southampton's new ground, it was unbelievable. Things that will stay with me for the rest of my life. And if as a coach I can help a young person, male or female, realize their dream, then I'm all in.
And then we've got Kieran there as well. Good player, top bloke. That's Kieran, who was physio at the time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I've not seen him for years. He helped me. He helped me quite a lot. I went on loan to Hornchurch.
Yeah.
And I got injured, and it was a bad injury, bad knee injury, and some evenings with Kieran, I'm there feeling sorry for myself, and he kept me buoyant. He kept me motivated, and for that I respect him for that. So I'd like to thank him for that.
Yeah, Kieran's a lovely guy. I've known Kieran for a number of years, actually. I used to live up at Chancellors Road in Stevenage here, just around the corner from where Kieran was at the time, and used to play football together and all of that.
Right.
And then for a couple of years. Yeah, well, a good few years, in fact. And then we'll talk a little bit about the LDV vans as well. Obviously, we beat Swansea and that. And then we played Luton as well, and it was the 4-3. Luton beat us 4-3. Do you remember, much about playing against your former team, and what was that like?
Yeah, I remember it. It was a bit of a strange one because I had left Luton because I wanted to play, and then when we actually played against Luton, it was all the young players that were playing. Joe Deeney, what's that lad's name again? But all the youngsters were playing, and I was thinking I was ahead of all of these. I was ahead of all of these. I might as well. I should have just stayed because I would have been playing now. But again, people like Curtis Davis and Leon Barnett and people like that used to ask me questions because I was a pro. I got my pro early.
Okay.
So I was a pro before them, and maybe me leaving was what helped them kickstart their career.
Yeah, and
so
progress.
at the end of the day, they were good players, they were top players, but everything happens for a reason. And they're good kids, they're good lads. Curtis, good lad. I think he's still playing at the moment.
Yeah,
is he at Derby or somewhere like that?
Yeah, he's doing well for himself. He's championship, if I remember rightly. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very mature from when he was young, or when he was 18, 19. Very mature.
I'm just going to see what Curtis is. I'm just going to have a little look, actually, see what club he's at.
Yeah, as a footballer, he was very, very humble. He knew his strengths. He knew his weaknesses.
He's at Derby. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a student of the game. There was times where Kurt used to call me to one side and say, "Jude, remember when you done that last week? Like, how could you?" And he would always ask questions. There's not many footballers like that. But I'm really proud of him. He started off at Luton, very raw, and he's turned into a seasoned professional. Somebody that when I hear talk, he's always has something good to say and positive about whoever he's talking about. Sometimes I see him do the punditry and that. He's always been positive, and he gives a good account of himself. And as a black man, it's good to see.
And Kieran's put their late night rehab session at the moment. It was a pleasure working with you there. And then Giggsy's put there, love that he's from Tottenham and he's a Gooner.
well, it's funny that because like I said, it was my first ever football memory.
Yeah.
Watching Arsenal, so I just stuck with them from that. That's what gave me the football bug. So as a person, that was my first football memory. So I just stayed with it. And
then Kieran's put here 27 years. Yeah, so I think that he means how long I've known him for. It's not as long as that, mate. I think it might be about 16, 17. It's not 27. I'm not as old as you think, mate. I moved there when I was I think I was just starting secondary school, so it's probably more like 17 years. Yeah. And then we've got a question here from Russ as well. Who was the best player that you played against during your career?
So that's a tough one. Probably Bergkamp.
Okay, you played against Dennis. Yeah.
Probably against Dennis Bergkamp. But one. Like I said, I was a super confident footballer. I didn't fear any players.
Yeah. Where was that when you played against Dennis? Was that in pre-season here at Stevenage, or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, it was at Stevenage.
Was that when Thierry Henry played in that game as well? It was him and Dennis and Ray Parlour and Colin.
Ray Parlour.
Yeah.
Ray Parlour definitely played.
Yeah.
But like I said, in my career, I pride myself on when I played against my opponent that they were going to get substituted. Yeah. And especially when I was at MK, I would say out of 100 games, the player that I played against directly, my opposite number was I would say out of 100 games, I'd say 85 times the player got substituted when they were playing against me. So I always put, like I said, I always put the effort in. When you played against me, you knew it weren't going to be easy.
Yeah.
And where I had the experience of playing an attacking role, I kind of knew when someone was going to drop their shoulder and try and cut in or whatever. And I was quick. I think when you're fast, it gets you out of a lot of tight situations. The one part of my game that I wasn't, I think I didn't enjoy or I wasn't very, very good at was heading the ball. I could get up and get my head there.
Yeah.
But for someone as tall as I was, I think, especially in the non-league side of things, I think managers wanted you to sacrifice your game of playing football and head it and be horrible and bite people in the back of the neck and all of that. And I just wasn't brought up like that as a footballer. I was always taught to you beat your opponent with skill and flair. Do you get what I'm saying? So
absolutely, yeah. In terms of, we'll go to that question from James in a minute as well. But in terms of, Stevenage's run as well in the FA Trophy, getting to the final against Yeovil, do you remember, what were your kind of experiences of that, the trophy campaign and the game at Villa Park and, all that came with that?
Well, if you remember, I think we went up to, was it Morecambe?
Yeah.
Did we beat Morecambe?
Yeah, it was at the semis. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Morecambe we beat, and it was a great day. Yeah. And I think was a little bit disappointed because we thought we should have done a little bit better in the league, with the squad that we had. But yeah, the actual day itself, it was a massive disappointment for me personally because is it Fisher, the centre midfielder?
Yeah, Matt Fisher. Yeah.
Right. So I was playing centre mid with Sam McMahon.
Yeah.
I was playing centre mid, and I thought I was doing quite well. And Fisher was injured, and he couldn't run, he couldn't move. And I just thought, I felt at the time, obviously I understand football a bit better now, but I thought it was disrespectful to the players, that a little bit like Mora when he done well for Spurs and then Harry Kane started up front.
I thought
it was a little bit disrespectful to bring somebody in who's not fit, admittedly so.
Yeah.
And I think as a player, when you're on the pitch, knowing that the person in central midfield, the engine room of the team, the heartbeat of the team is not 100%. I don't think that fills the squad with confidence when you're going out to play a game.
I remember, obviously, you mentioned Sam there. I spoke to Sam on here just the other week, actually, as well. And he's, was a really talented player. Obviously, he had his fair share of injuries to deal with as well, didn't he?
Yes. And I think, like I said, myself, DJ, us as young players, Louis Riddle from West Ham, Wormel, we were all young players that, we all thought we had pedigree. We all thought we could come in and do a job. And I just think that it was a little bit for me. It was annoying because with the squad of players that we had at the time, I don't think the way we lost to Yeovil, I think we should have made a better account of ourselves. But like I said, there's a load of politics in football.
Yeah.
I've realised, and sometimes as a young player, you just got to keep your mouth shut, get your head down, and work your socks off. And when you get your opportunity, take it. It's all well and good saying, "Oh, I think I'm this, and I think I'm better than this player or that player, whatever." But when you will get your opportunity, and when you do, you got to show people what you can do. A little bit like
absolutely.
Guendouzi now at Arsenal.
Yeah,
He's getting a little bit ahead of himself, and I think it's excellent from the manager that he's just not taking it, and
yeah.
that
And
will
he's
help
pulled
Guendouzi.
him out of the squad for a bit. Yeah.
That will help him. That will help him. You
Do you
know.
think he'll stay as well? Do you think, just going off topic like a little bit? Do you think he'll stay with Arsenal?
I think he's got to.
Yeah.
Do I think he will stay? There's a lot of some big clubs coming in for him. Oh, my phone's hold on, it's gone quiet again.
I don't know what's. Is that there? You got it?
It's gone quiet.
Have you got it there? We'll hopefully get Jude back in a minute. We'll start to wrap things up ever so shortly as well. Not too long. He shouldn't be too long. I don't know what was happening there in terms of the signal or whatever it may have been there where he is. Hopefully we'll be back with us in a minute. Just stay there, guys, and keep tuned. We'll hopefully get him back ever so shortly as well. We've got quite a lot to, some of the bits and pieces there I want to talk to him about as well. So hopefully he can, jump back in and we can carry on with that in a minute. And we can carry on speaking to him about, some more bits and pieces there in terms of Stevenage. Because there's a little bit more I wanted to ask him in regards to his first goal for the club and that sort of thing. So hopefully he will be able to get back with us in a minute. And we can carry this over into, the last bit of this and then wrapping it up. So hopefully we won't be too long. Just going to see. There you go, he's back. All right. You all right, mate? Is that better?
Yes, apologies.
No, that's absolutely fine. No worries. So, we were just talking a little bit about Guendouzi there. Do you think, and whether you think he'll stay with Arsenal and, just carry on where you were, what you were saying there?
Well, the clubs that have come in for him, there's some mass not come in, but the clubs that are reported to be interested, are some big clubs there. So it's going to be very difficult for him to turn that down if it comes about.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal's a club that's known for giving young players opportunities, and he's a top player, so I don't think he needs to worry about getting that opportunity again. I think in terms of world football, I think he's one of the best in his age bracket. So all he's got to do, he's got a great touch. He's just got to work on his temperament, and he's got to understand that, the football world will continue without you. It will go on. So you've got to be a part of that. Not everyone's gonna agree with what you say, but at some point you got to grow up and realize that you're there to just play football. Do you get what I'm saying? So just play
absolutely. Just kind of knuckle down and
So
go on.
So as a fan, I would like to see Guendouzi stay, but as a coach and somebody that's been in football, if his attitude's not right, he shouldn't be anywhere near the other players.
Is that the same? Are your thoughts the same on Ozil, or is that a little bit different?
I think Ozil's a little bit different. I think his style of the way he plays, he looks lazy.
Yeah.
He looks like a lazy individual. It's like with Ozil, it's like some of the players that used to come up from London to play for Stevenage and Luton or whatever. There's this thing that they think you got a chip on your shoulder or you're a bit lazy, but that's the London swagger. If you look at basketball and those sort of sports in America, the young players that come from the Bronx and New York and whatever, they've got a little bit of swagger when they're playing basketball, and I think that's just Ozil's his personality. He looks like he doesn't actually care when he's playing a match. But then when you look at his ability and some of the way he can manipulate the ball and put players in and bring other players into play, I think he's somebody that's, in terms of talent, he's an amazing footballer, and in terms of entertainment, he's someone that I like watching. He's
a really talented player, really good. He is one of the world-class players that we've got in the squad. Yeah, there's Aubameyang, there's him, and Lacazette, Pepe could be in that bracket as well. But there's only 4 or 5. There's not like lows like they used to be.
Well, again, if you look at Arsenal's team,
yeah,
back when we were a force, we could lose the ball, and then you had Vieira, you had Sol Campbell, you had Lauren, you had Ashley Cole, you had pace.
Yeah.
Now, when Ozil loses the ball, Arsenal are in trouble. So if Ozil was part of that invincible squad, then I think he would have taken that to another level, that team. But now, when Ozil plays in this team, because the team around him isn't strong enough, it's now difficult for him to get game time.
Yeah, that's very much. Yeah, I think that's very much right as well. And you know, the change in system and all that as well hasn't really helped him out, because there's no place for him in that squad now, because they're not playing with a number 10.
Yeah, and again, like I said with George Boyd before, defenders have got to take responsibility. Arsenal haven't really got any defenders. David Luiz is like almost like an auxiliary midfielder. The way he plays, he's not. He's a defender, but he's not someone you can trust. Arteta's getting there with him, where he's just telling him basically clear your lines, so he doesn't make mistakes. But I'm saying that the makeup of the team, there's not many defensive-minded players that are happy to just win the ball back for the team. And
with David Luiz, for example, you've got to be really careful with him, because yes, Arteta's learning. Well, sorry, Arteta's teaching him a bit in terms of his defensive, how to defend on that. But he's always got that, last ditch foul in him, like what happened against Watford. Yeah,
he's got that in him, and again, this is where now your manager's getting paid millions of pounds per year, and it's a conundrum, but it's one that I think is easily sorted. Just move him out of that position, put him into midfield or holding midfielder role, and get him, a little bit like what Guendouzi does.
Yeah,
and just get him to play, because he can play. He's got his flair. He's got a great touch. I think David Luiz.
We can't have both of them in defensive mid though. That'd be hair overload.
You're not wrong. Oh my gosh, it'd be good banter though. It'd be good fun, eh? But no, it's one of them where as a manager now, you've just got to keep shuffling the deck. And when you find something that fits, you stick with it. Where all the players are comfortable. But David Luiz is getting older as well.
Yeah.
So listen, to be a top team, I think you've got to have pace at the back. I think you've got to. If you look at Man City this year, they nearly won the league, but you've got your Fernandinho's he's not the quickest. Laporte's not the quickest. You never got Kyle Walker there, but other than that, they ain't got no pace in defence really. So the difference between them and Liverpool is Van Dijk and Gomez. They're quick.
Yeah.
They're flyers.
Yeah.
Trent, flyer. They all fly.
Yeah. So,
I think you could be as good as players think they are or whatever. Pace is something, if you know how to use your pace, then teams can't stop that.
No. And we'll go back to just talking a little bit about Stevenage as well now. So you scored one goal for the club. Do you remember much about that goal against Hereford and the worm celebration that came after as
well? I thought I knew that was going to come out. Oh mate, I just learned to do it. I can't remember who showed it to me, but I just learned to do it. And obviously, I've gone from being a striker as a kid, scoring loads of goals and doing whatever, and then I've gone into defence for years, and I'd never scored like in a first team game. So it was just emotion overload really. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. It wasn't planned. But I just, was it who was it against?
Hereford United. Yeah.
Was it 2-0 or something?
3-1, I think. Let's have a look. 3-1.
Yeah. It was just one of those things, really.
Yeah.
Listen. Ask anybody about me. I love to laugh and a joke. I love to have a laugh and a joke and to create memories, and I'm glad that I'd like to think that the fans respected my work that I put in, my work ethic,
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they respected my professionalism.
Yeah, 100%. You know, when you came in, you know, as I said before, you know, you were versatile in where you could play, and you always done a job, whether it was, you know, centre mid, centre back, or at right back, or, you know, wherever it was that you were selected to play.
Exactly, and it was one of them where, you know, I listen. I understand how difficult it is for managers,
yeah,
and coaches, and they've got to pick a team. And I always say, I coach now, and I always say to players when they say, "Can I play in this position and that position?" I say every position is the same. You got to run, pass, and tackle in any position that you play in.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to grumble about the position you're playing on the pitch, then your mind's not right to play the game. So then you don't deserve to play.
Nah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a very valid and fair point, actually, as well, what you said there. And then we'll go back to, you know, we spoke about that there briefly as well with the goal and the celebration. In terms of when you left the club, Graham Wesley that was his first spell when he came in, and he brought all of the guys. He brought in Holloway and Watson and Carroll and, you know, all of the defenders as well, Buncey and Mickey Warner and Justin Gregory and all of that. So, you know, did you straight away, you know, want to go out and, you know, did you kind of, you know, at that point think it was the right time to move on? And did you think you'd sort of struggle to keep your place at that point?
No, I thought I was better than all those players that you just mentioned. Not in like not like they weren't good players. Just I had confidence in my ability.
Yeah.
And when Mr. Wesley came in, he said, "Look, I don't know you as a person.
Yeah.
I've never really seen you play like as such, but I'm bringing players in that I rate highly, and you're not going to play." It was just as simple as that. So it wasn't anything to do with attitude or me wanting to leave or nothing like that, you know.
No,
and I thought what he done to me wasn't nice for a young footballer. He totally said I weren't allowed to train with the first team. I weren't allowed to have lunch with the first team. You know, I didn't know what I had done as a 19, 20-year-old trying to make your way in the game. Who was always known for having a good attitude. I'm never rude, never disrespectful. I weren't out in the nightclubs doing madness. Like I was after training, I would go and teach in schools up in Stevenage. You know, so there was never my attitude was never in question, and I think the way he dealt with me, it was a little bit hard to take as a young footballer. And then obviously I had an opportunity. Stevenage said I could leave the club, and I had an opportunity to go to a championship team. And Stevenage blocked it.
Oh, really? Graham, was it Graham or was it Phil or mixture of the two?
I don't know. I don't think it's fair for me to make a comment. I don't really know.
That's fine.
Because I know Graham Wesley's got he's got his some people don't like him. So I'm not gonna add to that. And
You know
what I'm saying, but you know, like I said, we didn't really cross paths. I thought he was quite disrespectful, but I could be wrong. And he just said to me, he said, "Look, you can go to any team lower than us, but you can't go to a team higher than us." And I said, "Well, why?" And I was told that I'm a fan's favourite. So I thought, pick. All right. That's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Tick. You're a fan's favourite, and if I let you, I don't know if it was the club or Graham or whoever, but it was to the tune of, I would look silly if I let you go for free to a team higher than us. But you said you didn't want me, so let me go then.
You should be free to go and move to wherever. Yeah.
So you know, so it's one of those things. I can understand it a little bit. You know, fans might say, you know, why have you let someone go for free? Why didn't you sell them? Like, why would you let someone go who we love?
Yeah.
I'll close it this time.
Is everything all right, though, mate?
Yeah, so why would they? Why would you as a club want to let a player go that's worth something for free? I suppose.
Yeah, and it's like, the club, even with Boydie, when Boydie was sold, they're looking at selling these players on to get some money for investment into the squad for the next
3%.
season, or for that season or whatever. So yeah.
Because I'm on it. Yeah, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I was just saying, even with Boydie as well, the club will basically just wanting to get these players out to get some money in for these players and invest again. Yeah.
Well, I think as a manager, like I said, I've not managed that level, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know it. I don't know it holistic. I don't know everything about coaching and management. So again, it's just my opinion. I was a versatile footballer that had come from League One or League Two. I can't remember what Luton were in at the time.
Yeah, I think they were League Two. I think they were at least one league above us. Yeah. Right,
and a couple of seasons, a season before that, I was selected for an under-18 squad with the likes of Jermaine Defoe, Leon Knight, Jay Bothroyd, Leon Britton, Graham Stack, Scott Goodin, Neil Jenkins, Alex Tapp. Like we were all in that squad. So I must have had some sort of ability, and I think as a football club, if I'm a manager or a chairman, I'd like to try and get something back off my investment.
Absolutely, yeah.
They didn't pay me bundles. I wasn't on massive money. It was enough. It was enough to keep my development going.
Yeah, keep you ticking over. Yeah.
It wasn't about money at that point. It was about getting the experience, and having the opportunity to prove that I was deserved of making money out of the game, because there's many ways to show your success is through trophies, medals, and how much you get paid. Do you get what I'm saying? So I wanted trophies, I wanted medals, I wanted recognition, I wanted man of the match every single match. Yeah. Like when we were playing, I was waiting, am I going to get man of the match every game? And I don't really remember getting man of the match that often, but then again, I don't remember getting subbed that often. So
that's true,
wherever I went, in my whole career, that I wasn't the player to be subbed, and even if I was injured, I was always asked to come along with the squad.
Okay, and get involved.
To help out and to encourage and to be a positive influence within the changing room. Which when you got people like Paul Ince and Martin Allen and people like that saying you're valuable to the squad even if you're not playing, I want you to come on the coach. For me, those are the sort of like the highlights of my career, when you're rubbing shoulders with people that have played at a very high level, played under some great managers themselves, and to identify you as somebody with a good attitude after what happened to me in my career at clubs like Stevenage and other clubs. It was, for me, it was nice. It was nice to be recognised for that,
And do you remember, I don't know if it was during your spell, that the fans had the opportunity to vote for the substitutions. Was that right at some point? Was that during your spell? I'm trying to remember if that was under, because I know it's happened, and it was like you're the manager type thing, and the fans were basically in charge of making the substitutions or putting a vote into the substitutions or whatever.
I'm not sure. I remember a fan coming up to the bench one time and telling Wayne Turner to get me on. But no, I can't really remember that. Like I said, that side of football, I had confidence in my ability. I really did. And I used to train with people like Jason Punchin and people like that after I left Stevenage, because he was at MK with us, and he was one of the first to say in a team meeting that when in training, I'm going over the other side of the pitch. I'm not trying to beat Jude. He didn't have the ability, I thought, to get past me. So, I was a football person. I wanted to just prove myself as a footballer. I wanted to win games. I wanted to have a laugh and a joke with my teammates, which I think is important when you spend so much time with people.
Day training and everything else.
but I genuinely wanted to be a top player. Genuinely, you know, one of my favourite players of recent times in the Premier League is James Milner. I love the way he goes about his work. He plays every position, and
very versatile again. Yeah,
he's a professional in every sense of the word. You know, he is professional, and I think that any young footballers that are aspiring to become footballers or whatever or whatnot should take a leaf out of his book. You know, because if you're a manager and you've got 11 James Milners or 16 James Milners, you're not in a bad place. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely not. No. He's more than capable of, doing a job in about 4 different positions, really. You know, or sometimes even 5. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, for me, I loved my time at Stevenage. It was a part of my story, as they say.
Yeah.
It was a chapter, and I think you know, the majority of it was good. I think at the time when I came in, there was a lot of pressure on Stevenage to get promoted.
To do really well. Yeah.
You know, I think the fans expected it. I think the players thought they were going to just turn up and just be promoted.
Yeah.
And I think the chairman done well to get Mr. Wesley in, because no matter what anybody says, he was successful.
Yeah, definitely.
He was successful, and for that I respect him. He had his methods, and like I said, when you've got everyone pulling in the same direction, you know, your methods they work. You got players that buy into it and believe in it.
Yeah.
I think that's half the battle. I think if he'd have spent a little bit more time with me, well, not a little bit more time, he never spent a day with me. So if he spent some time with me,
a chance. Yeah.
I think he would have liked me as a footballer. I think he would have respected me as a person and as a player. And it was just unfortunate that I didn't get that opportunity, because I did have I had a good bond with the Stevenage fans. Like I said, I think I come in and I think I done my family proud. I was respectful to people. I was a confident young footballer who wanted to try and do the best I could for the football club and for the area. Because like I said to you off the pitch, I used to do some coaching in schools. I think it was Old Bradwell or something like that.
Okay.
In some schools and that with Jamie Campbell and that. So
yeah,
it was I bought into the whole let's try and make Stevenage a league club thing. And like I said, it was just disappointing the way that as a young person, I've to be treated like that. If I didn't have the structure around me, family wise, that could have been something that broke me. It could have been.
Okay. Yeah. So now we just got 2 more questions, really, and that's it. After that, it's just these final 2. So first one, what are your experiences of racism in the game and the Black Lives Matter movement that's going on now?
I've got a lot more experience of racism in normal life than on the pitch. Mm-hmm. But it did happen. There was an incident that happened with me at Brentford, where a fan came up to me and I had to protect myself, which I did. But yeah, there was some racism there, and I think again, it's very difficult, because you're a young person trying to play football and trying to be respected and appreciated for your talents on the pitch. And I think there were some times within football where your colour did matter, and I think that's just it's embarrassing, really, how we could be in 2020 or wherever we're at, and as a young person you still have to think, oh well, is the manager not picking me because I'm black? Now, I'm not saying that.
You have to look at the person's ability. There's some excellent footballers that are black players. Sol Campbell, for example, is one that springs to mind straight away.
Well, the what you got to understand about racism and how people feel is there's a stigma that people attach to your race and your color, and that's like I said to you earlier on about players coming from London and they're a little bit more chilled and a little bit more laid back. Managers start to think, well, all black players don't want to put the work in. Those sort of comments get thrown around. And you know, growing up as a young black footballer, we socialize differently where I'm from. We never went to the pub. The pub wasn't, in terms of our culture, black people, we never went to the pub straight after and had a pint. That's not what we did. So I think sometimes people looked at it as you've got a bad attitude and you don't want to link up with the squad, but that's just not what we did. Do you get what I'm saying?
Each individual person, you know, some people do things differently. Some people might want to go to training and then go back and relax and then, you know, prepare differently for the next day.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, when you're from, you know, we're in England, and I've had run-ins with the police, with all different types of people. Where I am now, I control a little area and I do my little bits and pieces. And I've gone up to people before and I said, you know, for example, they were on my football pitch and I said, look, you're not allowed on here. And then they're looking at me like, who are you, kind of thing. And I'm thinking, hold on one sec.
Go on. You right? Is that, you there? No, we've lost him again. He should only be a minute. But that's, you know, just a little bit in regards to the Black Lives Matter and racism there as well in terms of football, and you know, life as well, for black players and black individuals. So you know, it's always good to hear that side of the story from somebody that's actually, you know, been through that themselves as well. So go on, what were you saying? Where were you?
So it's just you get a lack. There's a lack of respect when you're a black person. You know, you're not listened to. You're not valued as much as the next person, and that's just how it feels. It's easy for someone to say, "No, I'm not like that," but there's a saying that goes, "He who feels it knows it." And I think you know, you'd have to. Like I said, I coach kids now and young people. My under 12s, I think it was, had a match, and something happened in the game, and they just weren't getting the decision. And I'm saying, keep going. Like, I want them to keep playing. Just keep going. Don't worry about the decision. Just keep playing.
Yeah.
And one of the kids, like, after the game, they sighed and went, "The referee's racist." And I'm thinking, why would you? Like, where does that come from? Because that's not. I don't teach that. I'm teaching you how to play football. I don't want you to think like that. You go on a pitch and you're already 1-0 down in your head, or you get what I'm saying. You've got to go. I don't preach hate. Like, I don't do that. I'm not teaching you. I'm not saying this is a racist world. I don't think that's a nice thing to say to a young person.
That's it. You go onto the pitch and, you know, everyone's individuals. Everyone is. That's it, really. Everyone's included. It's an inclusive place to be, the football pitch.
But then when you look at, you know, I can't remember, England played somewhere when they were getting a racial abuse.
Yeah. With Stirling and Tyrone Mings and all of that lot. Yeah.
Right. So do you know the fine was about £30,000?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not just saying you're allowed to be racist, then I don't know what is.
That's it, Bulgaria. Yeah, that's it.
30 grand or whatever it was. Don't quote me on that. But there should be some heavy sanctions for that. Do you get what I'm saying? And there just isn't. There just isn't. So as a young black person now, you're allowed to be abused. Basically, you can be abused. That's okay.
That's what
that's how it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Which is just completely how it shouldn't be. It should be the complete opposite of that. It should be, as I said, inclusive. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, you know, I look at sport and I look at life. The two are totally different.
Yeah.
Life. There's a we're in England, so the majority of things that are run by people that are white. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. English
Do you get what I'm
people,
saying?
yeah.
So,
English people,
you
yeah, yeah.
know, how many? If can I get an opportunity now? If I sent my CV in to Stevenage and just a normal week, not me personally, but if I've got some young coaches here. If a young black person sends their CV in, and a young white person from Liverpool, just two normal people, the way that young black people are feeling right now is that they won't their application won't be looked at, and I think that's just it's so sad.
Yeah, when you look at the professional game as well, and the managers and all of that in England, there's I don't know how many black managers there are, but there's very few, very very few.
Yeah, and if you look at people like Scott Parker, how easy they get into it.
Yeah,
people like Scott Parker and Lampard and where they start their career, and the amount of.
Okay, we're back now for the second part of this Jude Stirling interview. Now we just had to restart it just briefly there because we had a few issues in regards to the actual server because I shared the server with somebody else as well who was going on to do a stream of their own. So, what were you saying in regards to racism there? What were you kind of touching on and talking about in regards to that?
Yeah, it's just that, in this day and age for a young person, in terms of a society, we've made massive strides. 30, 40 years ago, or should I say more like 40, 50 years ago, you couldn't walk. There's certain black people that couldn't walk in certain places in England through fear of their life. So we've come a long way, but again, it should be zero. I think there should be a zero tolerance towards any kind of abuse. Do you get what I'm saying? Whether it be physical, racial,
like mental abuse and that as well. Yeah,
people that have got their partners. So I think everybody's got to look at how we can make this country the best it can be. I believe it's the best country in the world, and I want it to remain the best country in the world through us constantly checking ourselves and making sure that we're creating an environment for young people or the next generation, creating an environment where they can go on and continue the legacy as such, of the country. That's
right. Chris has said it here. Let's put Chris's comment on the screen. This is very well wrapped up, actually. Hopefully, after everyone doing the Need for Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter campaign, next season it'll be zero tolerance. Yeah. Yeah,
and I think with the knee again, and I think they had it in American football or something where
it started because of George Floyd. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people were saying that they're being disrespectful to the flag and all that. I just think it's just ridiculous. How that people are trying to make a stand, or should we say a knee,
yeah.
And you're gonna go and make a comment like that. I just think it was I think if a black person made a comment like that, and it was an issue with white people, and say it was something to do with the war, or they said something about Germany's the best ever or whatever. I love Germany or something. People would say that black person's out of order. So, I just think, without getting over political, I think that people have just got to understand and recognize that the same way when women were allowed to vote, and women in the workplace need to be treated equally, and I think black people are always the last people to be looked after and looked at. I think they're kind of pushed to the back a little bit. There's as a black person, you feel like people have got more rights than you. You're walking down the road, and a policeman, or not even a policeman, but people kind of they criminalize you. Like, it's weird.
They tie you with a certain brush, even though that's actually, completely against the kind of person that you are. You're, it said it here. It's disrespectful thinking racism is okay, flag or no flag. Yeah, it's completely that, Chris. To be honest, and it's not right to tar individuals with the same brush, whether they're white, black, brown, whatever it may be. So yeah, Asian.
I think it just makes things double hard for young black people, because you have to, you can't, sometimes you can't just be yourself through fear of someone saying you're just like all them other black people. Now, I don't know what that's meant to mean, because I don't see black people as being bad people or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got it's just it's hard to be yourself. It's hard to just go and be yourself, and you know, it's not right. I don't think anyone, you know, you're always at a disadvantage. You're trying to make your way in life, and you've got to think about how everybody thinks of you, rather than just go and do what you're doing and people just respect you for who you are. You know?
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
It's not right, and it's not an environment. If you look at France when they won the World Cup, when they had Vieira, Desailly, this, that, a lot of black players within the squad.
Thierry Henry and Trezeguet.
They even had a black goalkeeper, Lama.
Yes. Right? Yeah.
Right now, the way I see it is black people have got something to give.
Lilian Thuram as well, the right back. Yeah.
Thuram, one of my favourite players of all time.
Yeah.
The black players have got a lot to give, and you know, it's just a shame that England as a country haven't produced what I would call enough black legends.
Mm-hmm.
They've not, because if you go to even Portugal, they've got Eusebio. If you go to Brazil, they've got Pele.
Yeah.
If you go to France, you got Vieira, Tigana. You got all those players. And then when you come to England, there's no real legends.
No, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no real legends that young black people can look up to. You look at basketball in America, they've got some legends, the greatest of all time, Jordan. You look at boxing, Muhammad Ali. Who has England produced? Now, black people are all over the world, but then all of a sudden, black people come to England and they haven't got, they don't get, I don't think they get the support that and the respect. It's changing now. I don't think they get that real respect that sports people get from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a Jamaican black person as well, and you've got people like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, now, absolutely. Yeah.
Right now, I was a fast runner, so you can't tell me that just the Jamaicans in Jamaica can run fast. What about the Jamaicans in England?
Yeah, it's the same.
We're still the same Jamaicans, and how comes it doesn't quite work out when we come to England? But then Jamaica could have 10 in a row, 10 world champions in a row, like men and women. So for me, I think England are missing a trick a little bit. Not England football team, but England as a nation, which I'm English, where there are talented black people, and I think they've got to be given that opportunity. Because even if you look at my family member Raheem Sterling, if you look at the way the media treats him, not anymore. I think they've kind of changed it, but at the beginning it was like, he's not all that, he's not all this, he's not all that, he's not all that, and I'm thinking, he's unbelievable. He's just played for Liverpool, finished second in the league.
Man City and England.
Now he's gone to Man City. And when they played in the World Cup, Sterling ran his socks off. Harry Kane couldn't move; he was injured. He ran his socks off. So I'm saying
he was one of the ones that was actually racially abused out in Kosovo or Bulgaria or wherever it was as well, wasn't he? So
right, and he's still got to now get his head together and go and play a football match. So the strength of character that takes to do that it's massive. You know, it's massive. And I just think that. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, what's your relationship with him then?
He's related to me through. So my uncle that's his dad.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
Dad's cousin. Is. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll find that out in a minute in regards to Raheem Sterling as well. Just bear with us a second there. In terms of we are having a few issues tonight in terms of technical difficulties and that. So let's just get him back on screen again.
Yeah.
So, what were you saying about Raheem? What was the
Yeah.
sort of family? Yeah.
Yes. So he's a cousin. So
Okay.
my uncle's that's his son, and he moved over here when he was a young lad.
Yeah.
For various different reasons, but we won't get into that. But yeah,
No.
He's done very well. I'm proud of him. But he's had to do it. You know, he's had to put the work in, coming from QPR and what have you.
Yeah.
He had a lot of doubters, and he's overcome every hurdle. So for that, I respect him.
Absolutely, and he's one of those players that is a real talent as well. And if England are to go on and win a Euros or win a World Cup, then he's got to be a pivotal and crucial part of that.
Yeah, I think in the world, if you're looking at people that play 7 or right of a 3 up front or on the left, I think he's in the top 5 in the world in that position. People keep talking about his finishing, but I think he scored about 21 goals this season.
Yeah, he scored a fair amount, and he's doing better at international than he was when he started out as well now.
So, and I think primarily your job as a midfielder or a link player
it's to create, not to score. Yeah,
is to create. So,
yeah.
I think he's always answered his critics, and I think that's the beauty of football. I think that's what makes it so watchable. That people have got their opinion, and you can prove them wrong, and that's part of the beauty of the game, and part of your journey as a person. You grow up and you overcome things, you whether it be racism or you've been dropped from the squad, whatever it may be, relationship difficulties, whatever that may be. You grow up and you learn, and you try and use all those experiences to not make mistakes in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, and that can be in terms of as you said there with racism, or mental health is another one as well that's being looked at in the game quite a lot at the moment.
Yes, and like I said, the pressures of football, and having to play at a certain level, every week, to motivate yourself every week is not easy, and I think you have to be a certain character to be able to do that. I think you need a support structure, not just of a football club, but family
and that as well. Yeah. A friendship,
and I think especially being a footballer, you have got no friends on a pitch. You got no friends. You've got teammates, you've got associates, but there's very few people I could say I've gone around their house and had a meal. So in terms of that, everybody's looking out for themselves. And I think if I was a little bit more like that, maybe I could have maybe gone further in my career, because I don't think I was single-minded enough. I think I was a team player, and I did like helping people. That's just something that I've grown up in a community. We wasn't just we didn't live in I lived in on an estate growing up. So it was all about helping each other and getting there, and it was usually me helping others more than them helping me, but everybody chipped in. Everybody's got a different story. So
no, I was just going to say, just before the last bit of something I was going to say here as well, the last bit of information, and the last question really was in regards to Stevenage now, with the survival in the Football League being confirmed today because of Macclesfield now having the points that were deducted, and we're actually suspended now, put on for this season just gone now, meaning that Stevenage are going to survive. How big do you think that is for the football club?
Well, it reminds me of when you're just outside the playoffs all season, and in the last couple of weeks you sneak into the playoffs. That usually gives you mentally it puts you in a good position for the playoffs. So hopefully Stevenage now, as a football club, can count themselves lucky,
Massively. Yeah.
and now use that to mount that league in League Two. Everybody's the same. There's no one. You get one or two teams that have got a top striker and they get out the league, but Stevenage can beat anybody. And it'd be good for Stevenage now to use this lifeline as such.
Yeah.
And go on and have a great season.
That's right, and hopefully, that's what happens. Obviously, we've got, we spoke about Alex and Lenny and some of the players that he's brought in and things like that. He's got a decent looking squad as well, that's taking shape at the moment. So, just hopefully, as you said there, we can use this lifeline and use that to motivate us for the new season. And we have to count ourselves lucky in terms of the fact we've survived, because yes, there were still games to play and points to play for and that type of thing, but we had only won 3 games all season, so you can look at it on one or two ways.
Well, I've like I said, the Stevenage as a club, the training ground, I like the stadium.
Yeah,
very modest setup, but everything's from what I know of the club, they try and do things the right way. So I think clubs like Stevenage and should be encouraged. Should be as fans and as somebody in football. I would love to see a Stevenage go up the league tables, almost like a Bournemouth. I think Stevenage.
Were you following it closely enough when they did that? Obviously, with Wesley there before, with Graham going up through the conference and League Two into League One and into the League One playoffs. Do you remember much about that? Were you following us a little bit then, or?
100%. I always follow Stevenage, because Stevenage was a club that gave me an opportunity, gave me a chance to play, and they gave me a chance to grow up. And in football, that's very important, because where you play your youth team football, but you don't really get much help, and nobody really teaches you that you got to grow up and understand life, and nobody says that to you. You always just think you're just playing like an academy match, like when you were 14. Do you get what I'm saying? So go into clubs like Stevenage. I would recommend for any young player making their way, because it does give you a chance to grow up and realize that there is a reality to life. You do have to stand up and be counted. And when you go to a football club like Stevenage and you got real people, that fans that will talk to you and be honest with you, it does give you a chance to get some sort of perspective of life and football. And as someone within football, I would love to be able to work with Stevenage Football Club in some capacity in the future. So,
and is that something you would do? Would you ever consider like coaching at the club or something like that?
100%. I'm not doing too bad in my. I've had some offers from Premier League clubs.
Okay.
To come in and coach.
Yeah.
But again, I've got to have certain assurances. Because where I am at the moment, I coach a group of young footballers who I believe they deserve my loyalty. When you're working with youngsters, they need that consistency. They need that positive person around them that's going to help them understand life and understand football, which is what they love to do. And I think I owe it to them and their families to have an air of loyalty, because when you're working with young people, they need that consistency in their life. Some of them have got different reasons why they're at football. Some could be weight, some could be family issues, some could be behavioural issues, some could be just because they're really good at football. As a coach working at this level, you're a dad, you're an uncle, you're a friend, you're a counsellor, you're an everything. So it's good for me. I'm learning. I'm picking up little things as I go along. I work alongside my dad, who's been doing this 41 years.
Okay, so you got a good experience there as well. Ahead of you. Yeah.
good mentor. He's got an MBE
Yeah.
for the works that he's done.
Oh,
for
brilliant! That's fantastic.
services,
Yeah.
for services to youth, community, and sport. So,
Mhm.
you know, we work really hard to try and help young people achieve their dreams.
Okay, we'll leave it there, to be honest, Jude. So thanks a lot for your time tonight. I know we've gone quite in detail and actually quite in depth in the end. But yeah, thanks a lot for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, cheers. Thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.